Golden light ripped through the null realm. The Grand Priest fell to his knees. A mortal stood where Zenos' throne used to be. 7 galactic-sized golden spheres dissolved into his flesh. Golden light ripped through the null realm. The void lost its infinite blackness. Blinding illumination replaced the eternal dark. Goku floated at the epicenter of the phenomenon. 7 galactic-sized orbs circled his small frame. The Super Dragon Balls pulsed with a heartbeat of ancient magic. The ancient stars hummed with raw creation energy. Goku closed his eyes. He took a deep breath. His chest expanded. The gargantuan spheres began to shrink. They compressed into streams of liquid gold. The golden currents spiraled toward the mortal. The cosmic energy pierced his chest. Goku arched his back. A soundless scream escaped his lips. His gi ripped at the seams. The first sphere dissolved entirely into his flesh. His veins flared with a blinding luminescence. The second sphere merged with his spine. His skeletal structure groaned under the cosmic weight. The third melted into his right arm. The fourth fused into his left. The remaining 3 crashed into his core simultaneously. The impact created a vacuum of absolute silence. The absolute mechanism of creation vanished from the physical plane. They now lived inside a Saiyan. A multiversal shockwave erupted from Goku's body. The invisible blast slammed into the spectator benches. Solid Kachi-Kachin steel groaned under the sudden pressure. The floating platforms cracked. Fissures spiderwebbed across the tournament arena. Gravitational laws inverted abruptly. Fragments of shattered stone floated upward. The green sky turned to bruised, sickly purple. Lightning the color of blood struck the void. The ambient pressure became suffocating. Air turned thick like heavy water. Mortal fighters collapsed to their knees. Vegeta slammed his hands against the crumbling floor. The Saiyan Prince gasped for breath. His armor fractured under the atmospheric weight. Jiren dropped to one knee. Sweat beaded on the Pride Trooper's forehead. His immense ki shield shattered like brittle glass. The absolute fabric of the null realm buckled. Space itself began to tear. Jagged black lines appeared in the atmosphere. Reality protested this unnatural union. A mortal vessel was never meant to hold Zalama's essence. The cosmos recognized the heresy. The universe tried to crush the anomaly. Goku opened his eyes. His pupils were gone. Pools of molten gold filled his sclera. His signature gravity-defying hair lost its dark color. It shifted into a radiant, metallic sheen. A heavy aura ignited around his body. The energy did not flicker like normal ki. It flowed like heavy, viscous lava. Sparks of creation magic snapped around his fists. He lowered his arms slowly. The simple motion generated a hurricane-force wind. The gale tore through the arena. It shredded the remaining Kachi-Kachin boulders. Dust plumed into the air. Goku stood perfectly still. His breathing was slow and rhythmic. Every exhale released a wave of pure heat. Golden energy cascaded over his shoulders. His mortal limits shattered into dust. He looked down at his hands. He clenched his fists. The space between his knuckles distorted. He possessed the power to rewrite existence. He could restore the erased timelines. He just needed to command it. He felt the infinite timeline data rushing through his mind. Memories of erased universes flooded his consciousness. He saw billions of lives screaming in the void. He resolved to bring them all back. On the upper benches, panic took root. The gods of destruction felt a terror they had never known. Beerus gripped the edge of his seating pod. His yellow eyes widened to their absolute limits. His claws dug deep into the metal railing. The railing melted under his anxious grip. A cold sweat drenched the feline deity's fur. His ears pinned back against his skull. He sensed the shift in the cosmic hierarchy. This was no longer a mortal fighting for survival. This was a usurper of divine authority. Belmod staggered backward. The clown god tripped over his own robes. He fell onto his back. His painted smile melted into a mask of pure dread. Champa grabbed Vados by the arm. The god of destruction shook uncontrollably. He could only point a trembling finger at the arena. Quitella gnashed his teeth in helpless fury. The rat god felt his innate destruction energy wither. The Hakai energy felt utterly useless against the golden pressure. The gods of destruction were no longer the apex predators. They had become prey to a mortal's evolution. They looked to their attending angels for guidance. The angels remained perfectly silent. Wiz stood beside Beerus without his usual smile. His staff rested firmly on the floor. High above the chaos, the Omni Kings leaned forward. The two Zenos tilted their heads in unison. Childish confusion dominated their blank faces. They did not understand the heavy atmosphere. They could not comprehend the shift in reality. The flashing lights entertained them for a brief moment. Then the suffocating pressure reached their throne. The Zenos stopped kicking their feet. Their playful smiles faded. They looked toward their angelic attendant. The Grand Priest did not look back. The cosmic father of angels stood rigid. His perpetual, serene smile vanished. His jaw set into a hard, unforgiving line. His violet eyes locked onto the glowing cyan. He recognized the magnitude of this cosmic treason. A mortal had bypassed the divine gatekeepers. Goku had hijacked the ultimate wish-granting mechanism. This was a direct threat to the Zenos' absolute rule. The Grand Priest uncrossed his arms. His halo flared with a blinding, hostile white light. He stepped forward to the edge of the royal platform. The temperature in the null realm plummeted. A freezing aura of pure, sterile law blanketed the arena. Frost formed on the edges of the spectator benches. The Grand Priest raised his right hand. His voice echoed across the crumbling void. The tone held zero warmth. It projected the absolute authority of the divine order. He bypassed all standard tournament protocols. He declared the Tournament of Power officially terminated. He labeled Son Goku an existential anomaly. He pronounced a sentence of immediate execution. The decree washed over the arena like a physical blow. The void shuddered in response. The gods of destruction snapped to attention. Their fear morphed into desperate compliance. They knew the penalty for hesitation. Disobedience meant immediate erasure. They had to destroy the mortal or face deletion themselves. Beerus hesitated for a fraction of a second. He looked at the golden silhouette of his former pupil. Regret flashed across his feline features. The Grand Priest's cold gaze shifted to Beerus. The silent threat forced the god of destruction into motion. Destruction energy flared across the spectator benches. Purple auras ignited in the bruised sky. 12 gods of destruction prepared to descend. They synchronized their destructive ki. The combined Hawkeye energy formed a massive, ominous storm cloud above. Down in the arena, Goku did not flinch. He tilted his head toward the descending deities. His golden eyes tracked their movements with effortless precision. The multiverse began to actively reject his presence. Reality violently glitched around his physical body. His left arm flickered out of existence for a microsecond. It reappeared wrapped in a halo of static. The ground beneath his boots turned to digital fragments. The null realm struggled to render his sheer mass of magic. Sparks of raw timeline data bled from his aura. Images of erased universes flashed in the sky. Shadows of forgotten warriors danced in the golden light. Goku's newly augmented existence strained the fabric of space. The dimensional walls groaned under his sheer gravity. He took a single step forward. The sound of a breaking mirror echoed across dimensions. Space cracked beneath his boot. A web of glowing fractures spread through the air itself. The execution squad closed in from all sides. Purple spheres of destruction rained down upon the arena. The storm of destruction energy accelerated. The golden mortal stood ready. He did not adopt his traditional fighting stance. He simply let his arms hang loosely at his sides. He waited for the divine storm to hit. The purple storm of destruction impacted the arena simultaneously. A catastrophic explosion of Hawkeye energy engulfed the golden cyan. The shockwave disintegrated the remaining rubble into atomic dust. A thick plume of violet smoke blanketed the epicenter. The gods of destruction hovered above the crater. They waited for the dust to settle. Belmod scoffed in premature victory. The smoke dissipated in an instant. A sudden gust of wind blew the violet haze away. Goku remained completely unharmed. His golden aura repelled the destruction energy effortlessly. The Hawkeye spheres had dissolved upon touching his skin. Belmod lost his smug grin. The clown god generated razor-sharp energy cards. He hurled the glowing projectiles at Goku's neck. The cards spun through the air with lethal speed. Goku did not move. The cards struck his golden aura. They instantly transmuted into harmless white flower petals. The petals drifted gently to the cracked floor. Quitella used the distraction to materialize behind the cyan. The rat god infused his fist with concentrated Hawkeye. He aimed a lethal strike at Goku's spine. Goku raised his left arm backward without turning around. He caught Quitella's fist in an open palm. The kinetic force of the punch vanished completely. Goku squeezed his grip. Quitella screamed in sudden agony. The rat god's bones splintered under the crushing pressure. Goku casually tossed the deity aside. Quitella crashed through 3 layers of Kachi-Kachin debris. Champa roared in frustration. The heavyset god raised both hands above his head. A massive sphere of purple destruction energy expanded rapidly. He hurled the artificial sun down at the arena. The sphere cast a dark purple shadow over the battlefield. Goku looked up at the descending mass. His golden eyes narrowed slightly. 2 beams of pure, concentrated creation light shot from his pupils. The optical blast pierced the core of the Hawkeye sphere. The purple sun shattered into harmless sparks of light. The sparks rained down like a gentle meteor shower. Rumshield charged through the falling embers. The elephant god swung his heavy trunk like a spiked club. Goku raised a single index finger. The trunk collided with the digit. A sonic boom echoed across the null realm. Rumshield's momentum halted entirely. The god gasped in shock. Goku flicked his finger forward. The microscopic motion generated immense kinetic force. Rumshield flew backward. The elephant god slammed into the edge of the spectator platform. The remaining gods attacked in a synchronized formation. Sidra threw defensive energy nets. Hellas fired a barrage of piercing arrows. Moscow unleashed a massive laser from his robotic eye. Goku walked slowly forward through the onslaught. He waved his hand in a dismissive arc. The golden energy rippled outward. The energy nets evaporated into mist. The arrows turned into harmless droplets of water. The robotic laser bent around his body and struck the void. Goku rewrote their lethal attacks into basic elements. He commanded the physics of the arena. He was a walking engine of absolute creation. The gods of destruction fell back. Their collective Hawkeye proved entirely useless against his golden armor. A shadow fell over Goku's path. Beerus landed directly in front of him. The feline god exhaled a ragged breath. Purple ki violently erupted around Beerus's lean frame. He entered his maximum state of power. Beerus launched a rapid flurry of strikes. His fists moved at blinding speeds. Goku deflected every blow with minimal effort. He parried a heavy right hook with the back of his wrist. He sidestepped a sweeping kick. Beerus spun and fired a point-blank Hawkeye blast. Goku caught the blast in his bare hand. He crushed the purple energy into nothingness. Beerus paused his assault. The god of destruction stared into Goku's golden, pupilless eyes. He searched for his old student. He found only the cold, infinite expanse of a reborn deity. Beerus lowered his fists. He recognized the absolute futility of this fight. Goku raised his hand to strike the final blow. He aimed a palm strike at Beerus's chest. Then the anomaly struck. A violent tremor racked Goku's body. His raised arm locked in place. The golden aura flickered erratically. The ambient heat in the arena spiked to dangerous levels. Goku gasped for air. He clutched his own chest. A searing pain erupted in his core. The infinite magic of the Super Dragon Balls rebelled against his flesh. His mortal vessel lacked the divine architecture to house Zalama's essence. The golden energy began to burn him from the inside out. His cellular structure expanded rapidly. His muscles swelled grotesquely. Then the cells collapsed in on themselves. His skin tightened over his bones. He fell to one knee. The impact cracked the ground beneath him. His veins bulged against his skin. The blood flowing through them turned a blinding, volatile gold. The light shone visibly through his flesh. He looked like a fragile lantern containing a dying star. Goku coughed violently. A splatter of golden fluid hit the floor. The liquid burned a deep hole straight through the Kachi-Kachin. His body temperature continued to rise. The surrounding air distorted from the extreme heat. The fabric of reality began to glitch faster. Sections of the arena turned invisible. Dimensional static hummed loudly. The Null Realm struggled to contain the collapsing magic. Beerus stepped back in horror. The feline god understood the physiological reaction. He had seen unstable energy cores before. He recognized the symptoms of a critical mass event. Goku was not just dying. He was becoming a multiversal bomb. The Super Dragon Balls contained enough raw energy to recreate universes. That same energy now threatened to detonate. Beerus calculated the blast radius. The resulting explosion would not just destroy the Null Realm. It would cascade through the dimensional barriers. It would erase all 12 remaining universes in a single, unpreventable flash of light. The ticking clock started. The golden veins pulsed with a frantic rhythm. The heartbeat of the magic accelerated. Goku gritted his teeth. He tried to force the energy back into his core. He clamped his hands over his glowing chest. The magic resisted his physical control. A localized explosion blew his hands away from his chest. His fingers blackened and blistered from the heat. The pain forced a guttural roar from his throat. The sound echoed with a double timbre. His mortal voice overlapped with an ancient, draconic rumble. The dragon's essence fought to tear its way out of him. Goku stared at his blackened fingers. The golden light healed the burns instantly. Then the magic burned the skin away again. A vicious cycle of destruction and recreation ravaged his hands. He slammed his fists into the ground. He attempted to ground the volatile energy. The stone melted beneath his touch. A pool of liquid metal formed around his knees. He breathed heavily. Each inhalation scorched his lungs. Golden steam plumed from his mouth. He squeezed his eyes shut. He focused his mind inward. He visualized his ki core. The core resembled a raging golden sun. Solar flares of magic lashed at his internal organs. He tried to build a barrier around the sun. He used his blue god ki to form a shield. The golden flares instantly vaporized the blue energy. The magic refused to be contained. Vegeta watched from the sidelines. The Saiyan Prince clenched his jaw. He recognized his rival's agony. He stepped forward to intervene. An invisible wall of heat pushed him back. Vegeta shielded his face with his forearms. The ambient temperature singed his hair. He could not cross the threshold. Jiren stood beside Vegeta. The Pride Trooper stared at the glowing anomaly. Jiren crossed his arms tightly. He felt completely powerless. The strongest mortal in Universe 11 could do nothing. The scale of this event eclipsed physical combat. This was a battle of cosmic physics. Goku let out another agonizing scream. A pillar of golden fire erupted from his back. The flame shot high into the purple sky. The pillar illuminated the entire Null Realm. The light blinded the spectator benches. Krillin covered his eyes. Piccolo raised his cape to block the glare. Gohan shouted his father's name. The sound was swallowed by the roaring magical flames. The pillar widened. Goku's silhouette distorted inside the fire. He looked like a shadow being consumed by a star. The pressure in his skull mounted. He felt his sanity fraying at the edges. The memories of the erased universes played on a loop in his mind. He heard the voices of trillions of dead mortals. They whispered in his ears. They begged for existence. The psychic weight was unbearable. He grabbed his head with both hands. He clawed at his own scalp. The Grand Priest observed from his high vantage point. The angel analyzed the volatile energy signatures. He quantified the remaining time. He projected a window of less than 1 planetary hour. The mortal would explode within 60 minutes. The Grand Priest lowered his gaze. He could not wait for the detonation. He had to excise the anomaly immediately. He needed to extract the magic before the vessel ruptured. A simple Hakai would trigger the explosion early. A surgical, absolute deletion was required. The Grand Priest raised both hands toward the false sky. He summoned his children. He activated the ultimate multiversal countermeasure. The golden pillar of fire suddenly contracted. The flames snapped back into Goku's body. The violent implosion cleared the air. Goku remained on one knee. His breathing sounded like grinding stones. His gi was completely incinerated. Only his tattered blue pants remained. The golden veins on his chest pulsed faster. They throbbed in time with a visible, erratic heartbeat. The skin around his heart turned transparent. A blinding nexus of pure magic churned beneath his ribs. The energy fought aggressively against his ribcage. He placed a hand over his heart. He tried to physically hold the magic inside. His muscles trembled violently. The ground cracked in a perfect circle around him. Gravity doubled in the immediate vicinity. Heavy rocks turned to dust under the pressure. Goku lifted his head. His eyes were wide and frantic. The golden pools of light in his sclera rippled like disturbed water. He lost focus on the physical world. He saw the cosmic tapestry unraveling. The threads of reality snapped around him. The timeline fragmented. He saw past, present, and future overlapping. He witnessed his own birth. He saw his death on Namek. He watched the erasure of Universe 9 on an infinite loop. The absolute mechanism of creation overwhelmed his mortal perception. His brain struggled to process omniscient data. A sharp crack of lightning split the sky. A drop of golden blood fell from Goku's nose. It sizzled on the hot stone. The timer ticked closer to 0. The magic continued its exponential expansion. The celestial detonation became a mathematical certainty. Goku wiped the blood from his face. His hand shook uncontrollably. He tried to stand up. His legs refused to obey. The divine weight pinned him to the floor. The Grand Priest transmitted a telepathic order. The signal pierced the minds of all 12 attending angels. The angels ceased their observation. They stepped forward in unison. Whis looked down at the blazing inferno. He felt a rare pang of sorrow. He gripped his staff tightly. He descended from the platform. Vados followed him closely. Margarita floated downward. Uemo joined the descent. The 12 angels broke their sacred neutrality. They entered the battlefield as active combatants. The angels raised their staffs in perfect unison. The crystal orbs at the apex of their weapons glowed with an icy blue light. The ambient temperature dropped sharply. The freezing aura combated the intense heat of Goku's melting body. Frost crept across the scorched stone. The ice met the pool of liquid metal. Hissing steam rose into the bruised sky. Goku glared at the angelic circle. He bared his teeth in a feral grimace. The dragon magic roared inside his mind. It demanded release. It urged him to burn the angels to ash. He fought the urge. He refused to become a mindless bomb. He clenched his fists again. He forced his legs to straighten. He pushed against the crushing gravity. His knee left the ground. He stood up slowly. The golden aura ignited around him once more. The volatile energy spiked. The countdown accelerated. The false victory ended. The 12 angels surrounded the glowing cyan in a perfect circle. Their halos hummed with synchronized frequencies. The icy blue light of their staffs illuminated the purple haze. Goku stood panting at the center of the ring. His golden aura sparked with violent instability. Whis stepped forward first. The angel moved without shifting the surrounding air. He appeared instantly in front of Goku. Goku threw a sweeping right hook. Whis tilted his head a fraction of a millimeter. The heavy golden fist hit empty space. Whis raised his staff calmly. He tapped the glowing crystal against Goku's sternum. The impact felt like a collapsing star. Goku gasped for air. A shockwave rippled outward from his back. His ribcage fractured audibly. He staggered backward in shock. Vados intercepted his retreat. She swung her staff at his left kneecap. The bone snapped with a sickening crunch. Goku dropped to his right knee. The ground cratered beneath his weight. Margarita lunged from the left side. Her twin-tailed hair whipped through the stagnant air. She delivered an open palm strike to his exposed ribs. The kinetic force bypassed his flesh entirely. It struck his internal organs directly. Goku coughed up a thick mouthful of golden blood. The glowing fluid splashed across Margarita's white boots. She did not flinch or look down. Uemo descended from above. The stout angel drove his heel into Goku's right shoulder. The Saiyan's clavicle shattered into jagged splinters. Goku screamed in raw agony. The sound tore his vocal cords. His jagged aura flared defensively. Spikes of raw creation magic shot outward in all directions. The angels wove through the deadly spikes effortlessly. They did not fight with anger. They fought with the sterile precision of an immune system. Goku was the invading virus. They were the divine white blood cells. Kukata sliced his hand through the air. A blade of divine ki severed a golden spike cleanly. Korn stepped into Goku's blind spot. He drove a sharp elbow into the Saiyan's lower spine. Goku's vision blurred into red static. He collapsed flat on his stomach. The stone cracked beneath his heavy jaw. The golden magic flared violently under his bruised skin. It burned his exposed nerve endings. He planted his palms on the ground. He tried to push his broken body up. Was placed a polished shoe lightly on his back. The gentle pressure pinned Goku completely to the floor. Beerus watched the execution in stunned silence. The god of destruction fell to his knees. He slammed his fists against the floor in frustration. He was powerless to save his friend. The other gods of destruction realized their titles meant nothing. The angels were the true masters of the multiverse. Vegeta could not watch the execution passively. The Saiyan Prince roared in absolute defiance. He erupted into his Super Saiyan Blue evolution state. He launched himself toward the angelic circle. He threw a final flash at Whiz's back. The massive beam of blue energy tore through the arena. Whiz did not turn his head. He flicked his wrist backward. The final flash condensed into a tiny blue marble. The marble dropped harmlessly to the ground. Vados raised a single finger toward Vegeta. An invisible kinetic strike hit Vegeta's chest. The prince flew backward at supersonic speed. He crashed through the spectator benches. He fell into the endless void below. Jiren moved next. The Pride Trooper unleashed his maximum burning ki. He materialized directly above the Grand Priest. He swung a fiery fist at the angel's head. The Grand Priest did not acknowledge the attack. A barrier of pure law manifested instantly. Jiren's fist shattered against the invisible wall. The bones in Jiren's arms splintered into dust. The Grand Priest blinked once. A shockwave of gravitational force hit Jiren. The strongest mortal plummeted to the ground. He created a massive crater upon impact. Hit attempted a time-skip assassination. The assassin froze time completely. He walked casually toward the Grand Priest. He prepared a lethal strike. The Grand Priest turned his eyes toward Hit within the frozen time. Hit froze in sheer terror. His time-skip dimension shattered like fragile glass. Hit fell to his knees in the real timeline. He grasped his chest in sudden agony. The angels demonstrated their absolute supremacy. Mortals were nothing but dust in the wind. The brief distraction ended. The execution resumed. The physical trauma amplified the magical rejection. Goku's mortal mind began to crack under the strain. The absolute magic of creation invaded his deepest memories. His consciousness separated from his physical body. He stared at the cracked stone beneath his face. The stone vanished in a flash of light. The dark sky of the Null Realm disappeared entirely. He stood suddenly on planet Earth. The sky above Mount Paozu burned a sickly violet color. A massive purple sun descended toward his home. Chi-Chi ran out of the front door. Goten followed close behind his mother. They looked up at the sky in sheer terror. Goku reached out his trembling hand. He tried to shout their names. No sound left his paralyzed mouth. The purple sun touched the roof of his small house. The structure vaporized instantly. Chi-Chi turned to gray dust. Goten dissolved into white ash. The wind scattered their remains into the endless void. Goku fell to his knees in the psychic vision. The scenery shifted abruptly again. He knelt on the destroyed wasteland of Namek. Krillin stood a few feet away. The monk looked at Goku with hollow, dead eyes. A beam of white light pierced Krillin's chest. Krillin exploded into a shower of digital fragments. Piccolo materialized from the dark shadows. The Namekian melted into a puddle of golden sludge. Gohan crawled toward Goku with a severed arm. Gohan begged for his father's help. Goku grabbed his son's outstretched hand. The hand crumbled into coarse sand. The hallucinations compounded his physical torture. The absolute loss shattered his fighting spirit. He stopped trying to heal his broken body. He let the golden flames consume his mind. His physical body convulsed violently in the real world. Tears of glowing blood leaked from his golden eyes. Was looked down at the broken mortal. A micro-expression of genuine pity crossed the angel's stoic face. He quickly buried the emotion beneath cold duty. The Grand Priest floated down from the shattered spectator platform. He stopped directly above the center of the angelic circle. The angelic father raised his right index finger. A singular point of absolute white light ignited at his fingertip. This was not Hakai destruction energy. This was pure multiversal deletion. It bypassed physical durability and magical barriers entirely. It erased the very concept of the target from the timeline. The white light expanded into a massive disk. The disk hummed with a terrifying, absolute silence. The sound of reality being scrubbed clean echoed in the void. The spatial fabric around the disk warped heavily. The 12 angels stepped back from Goku in unison. They created a clear, unobstructed path for the deletion wave. Goku lay completely still on the scorched earth. His jagged aura flickered out. His metallic golden hair dimmed to a dull yellow. His breathing shallowed to a faint rasp. His body surrendered completely to the crushing despair. The cosmic weight had finally broken his mortal limits. The Grand Priest locked his cold gaze onto the dying Saiyan. He lowered his arm slowly. The silent deletion wave detached from his finger. The disc drifted downward toward Goku's spine. The ultimate end of Son Goku approached. The deletion wave drifted inches from Goku's spine. Time froze across the null realm. The agonizing hallucinations faded from his broken mind. The desperate struggle for survival evaporated. He felt the cold proximity of total erasure. He stopped fighting the infinite magic. He released the mental barriers containing his mortal soul. He let go of his desire to win. He exhaled a long breath. The frantic beating of his heart slowed. The panic vanished from his golden eyes. A profound stillness replaced his fear. He surrendered his mind to the void. He abandoned all conscious thought. The autonomous nature of Ultra Instinct awakened in the darkness. It did not emerge as a combat technique. It manifested as a state of unconditional acceptance. The silver energy of Ultra Instinct flowed outward from his core. It intertwined with the golden magic of Zalama. The two opposing forces collided within his cellular structure. They did not destroy each other. They recognized a fundamental harmony. The chaotic dragon essence found a perfect vessel within the divine instinct. The rigid divine instinct found infinite fuel within the dragon essence. A flash of light erupted from his core. The dull yellow aura vanished. A pillar of brilliant platinum light pierced the dark sky. The freezing temperature of the arena neutralized. A wave of immense warmth washed over the shattered null realm. The platinum light condensed around Goku's broken body. It clung to his skin like liquid metal. The light hardened into iridescent scales. An armor of pure creation energy forged itself over his flesh. His shattered clavicle snapped back into place. The fractured ribs fused together seamlessly. His pulverized kneecap reconstructed itself. The deep lacerations on his chest closed. The spilled golden blood evaporated into a silver mist. The erratic pulse stabilized into a slow rhythm. He breathed in deeply. The suffocating atmospheric pressure vanished. He no longer fought the gravity of the void. He absorbed it. He stood up straight. His tattered gi pants shifted in color. The blue fabric bleached into a glowing white. The ragged edges smoothed themselves out. He stood reborn in the heart of the ruins. Goku opened his eyes. The pools of volatile gold were gone. His sclera glowed with a solid platinum sheen. His hair shifted to a metallic white silver. The spikes of his hair lengthened slightly. The deletion disc made contact with his back. The erasure magic pushed against the platinum scales. The disc screeched like grinding metal. Goku did not flinch. He did not dodge the attack. He turned his body around slowly. The deletion disc hovered before his chest. It spun wildly in the empty air. It tried to erase his physical form. The platinum armor repelled the erasure. Goku raised his right hand upward. He extended a single index finger. He pushed his fingertip against the center of the spinning disc. A sharp chime echoed across the multiverse. The multiversal deletion wave shattered like glass. Billions of white fragments rained down around his boots. The fragments dissolved into harmless cosmic dust. The divine execution failed. The ultimate weapon of the Grand Priest amounted to nothing. The Grand Priest recoiled in shock. The angel's purple eyes widened. He stared down at his own trembling hand. His absolute law had been broken by a mortal. The foundation of his multiversal rule fractured. Goku lowered his hand to his side. He took a single step forward. His boot touched the cracked stone. A ripple of heavy platinum energy spread outward. The fundamental laws of the null realm rewrote themselves. The dimension bent its rules to serve the new apex entity. The physical rules governing the angels warped. The reality glitch transferred from Goku to the divine beings. Space distorted around the 12 children. The flawless grace of their movements vanished. Their bodies felt the unbearable weight of mortal gravity. Wiz staggered backward. His heavy staff slipped from his grip. The weapon crashed against the stone floor. Wiz stared at his empty palm. His perfect nervous system failed to catch the falling object. Vados grasped her chest in sudden pain. Her glowing halo flickered like a dying light bulb. The divine ring turned gray. It dropped heavily from her neck. It shattered into a dozen pieces on the ground. Margarita fell onto both knees. The atmospheric pressure crushed down on her shoulders. She placed her hands flat on the ground. Owamo tried to fly upward. His anti-gravity flight mechanics failed. The stout angel crashed into the dirt. Korn raised his hands to form a defensive barrier. The barrier materialized backward. It trapped him inside a shrinking box of light. Kukata attempted to teleport away. His atomic structure scattered into light. He immediately reformed in the exact same spot. The cosmic immune system experienced a total breakdown. The virus had evolved into an unstoppable cure. The angel's perfect ultra instinct state malfunctioned. Their divine key receptors overloaded. Their bodies could no longer dodge autonomously. They lost their intrinsic connection to the cosmic fabric. They were bound by the crude physical laws of mortals. Goku did not emit a hostile ki. He radiated an overwhelming aura of absolute authority. The density of his existence bent space around him. The massive spectator benches groaned. They shifted closer to his gravitational pull. The stone platforms dragged themselves across the empty void. The gods of destruction watched the impossible unfold. Beerus stood up on trembling legs. The feline god wiped a cold sweat from his eyes. He realized the terrifying truth. Son Goku had transcended the entire divine hierarchy. The Saiyan imposed his sheer will over the highest magic in existence. Belmod backed away. The clown god hyperventilated in terror. Champa grabbed the railing to keep himself from collapsing. The fat god felt his innate destruction energy evaporate. Quitella lay unconscious under a pile of rubble. The remaining deities bowed their heads involuntarily. The gravitational pressure forced their chins down toward their chests. The Omni Kings stopped moving entirely. They stared down at the Platinum Warrior. Their childish minds registered a power they could not erase. Goku stood motionless among the fallen angels. He did not look at the gods of destruction. He did not look at the Omni Kings. He lifted his chin slowly. His glowing platinum eyes locked directly onto the Grand Priest. The ultimate confrontation for the throne of reality commenced. The Grand Priest stared at the platinum anomaly. His immaculate mind fractured. He lost his supreme composure entirely. A jagged blue vein popped on his pale forehead. He clenched his jaw tightly. His teeth ground together with an audible scrape. The absolute ruler of the cosmos felt genuine, suffocating panic. He refused to accept this mortal usurpation. He raised both hands toward the bruised, purple sky. A massive halo of pure, concentrated law manifested behind his back. The divine ring spun with terrifying velocity. It drained the ambient energy from the entire null realm. The grand arena darkened instantly. Only the priest's spinning halo and Goku's platinum armor provided illumination. The Grand Priest drew upon the total reserve of angelic power. His physical form expanded violently. His tailored blue robes stretched tight against his swelling muscles. He dropped his serene facade. He bared his perfect white teeth in a savage snarl. He let out a raw, deafening roar. The sound shattered the remaining Kachi-Kachin debris into microscopic dust. The roar held no divine echo. It sounded desperate and entirely mortal. The Grand Priest lunged forward aggressively. He shattered the dimensional barrier instantly. The space behind him collapsed into a black vacuum. He crossed the vast arena in a single microsecond. He appeared directly in front of the Saiyan. He aimed a glowing right palm strike directly at Goku's face. The strike carried the kinetic force of a collapsing galaxy. It aimed to erase Goku's soul from the timeline entirely. The attack moved exponentially faster than light. Goku did not blink. He did not shift into a fighting stance. He simply tilted his head 2 inches to the left. The lethal palm strike hit empty air. The kinetic shockwave bypassed Goku completely. The invisible wave tore a massive, jagged trench into the arena floor behind him. The Grand Priest stumbled forward from his own momentum. His purple eyes widened in absolute shock. He threw a frantic left hook. Goku ducked under the swinging arm effortlessly. The Grand Priest spun around rapidly. He unleashed a barrage of rapid-fire strikes. His fists became blurs of blinding white light. Goku stepped backward at a casual pace. He weaved through the blinding flurry of punches. He did not raise his hands to block. He let the Grand Priest exhaust his divine ki. The Grand Priest stopped his frantic assault. He breathed heavily through his mouth. Sweat poured down his pale face. He gathered all his remaining power into his right fist. His arm glowed with blinding, lethal intensity. He threw one final, desperate punch at Goku's chest. Goku stopped moving backward. He planted his boots firmly on the cracked stone. He raised his right hand slowly. He caught the Grand Priest's ultimate strike with a single index finger. The cosmic impact generated 0 sound. The kinetic energy vanished completely upon touching Goku's skin. The Grand Priest froze in place. His fist remained pressed against Goku's finger. The angel's pupils shrank to tiny pinpricks. He realized the vast, insurmountable gulf between them. Goku lowered his index finger. He flattened his hand. He stepped forward into the Grand Priest's personal space. He gently placed his open palm flat against the angel's chest. The touch carried no visible force. It emitted no explosive ki. It simply conveyed the absolute weight of the new cosmic hierarchy. The Grand Priest felt the gravity of 1 trillion stars press down on his shoulders. The divine ki inside his body extinguished instantly. His glowing halo shattered into white dust. His knees buckled under the immense pressure. He tried to stand his ground. He fought the overwhelming gravitational command. The platinum energy surged from Goku's palm. It forced the Grand Priest downward. The highest angel in existence fell heavily to his knees. The stone floor cracked beneath his kneecaps. He bowed his head involuntarily. He planted both hands on the ground to support his crushing weight. The Grand Priest submitted to the mortal. The submission cascaded across the ruined battlefield. The new cosmic law rippled outward from Goku's position. The remaining 11 angels felt the immediate shift in reality. Their innate resistance shattered completely. Wiz stood a few yards away. The tall angel dropped to both knees. He bowed his head respectfully toward the Saiyan. Vados collapsed beside him. Her elegant posture vanished. She pressed her forehead against the cold stone. Margarita fell forward onto her hands and knees. She lowered her face to the floor. Awamo crashed down heavily. The stout angel flattened his body against the rubble. Korn knelt and bowed his head deeply. Kukata dropped his arms and submitted to the crushing gravity. The remaining supreme children of the cosmos surrendered instantly. They formed a massive, kneeling circle around the Platinum Warrior. The absolute rulers of the multiverse bowed in unison. They pledged silent allegiance to the new apex entity. The gods of destruction watched the impossible subjugation. Beerus fell to his knees on the floating spectator platform. The feline god did not bow out of physical force. He bowed out of sheer, unadulterated awe. Belmod knelt and covered his painted face with his trembling hands. Champa prostrated himself on the metal floor. Quitella remained unconscious on the ground. Rumshiel knelt heavily on the platform. The entire pantheon of destroyers submitted to the mortal. High above the arena, the 2 Omni Kings remained seated. They did not speak. They did not laugh. They stared down in stunned, absolute silence. Their childlike innocence fractured entirely. They realized they no longer controlled the cosmos. The Platinum Saiyan dictated the terms of existence now. Goku stood tall in the center of the kneeling divine beings. His platinum armor hummed with infinite power. He looked down at the subjugated Grand Priest. He felt no arrogance. He felt only the cold, mechanical balance of his new reality. He had saved the multiverse. He had rewritten the hierarchy completely. But the cosmos demanded a steep price for this heresy. The fabric of reality could not sustain this level of paradox forever. A mortal possessing the absolute magic of creation violated the core laws of physics. The immense strain finally reached a violent breaking point. A low, guttural tearing sound echoed across the null realm. The sound did not come from the destroyed arena. It came from the sky itself. Goku snapped his head upward immediately. The kneeling angels looked up in synchronized dread. The bruised purple sky bulged inward heavily. A jagged black line appeared in the upper atmosphere. The line expanded rapidly across the horizon. Space tore open like a piece of cheap fabric. A massive, jagged rift formed directly above the arena. The dimensional tear stretched for thousands of miles in every direction. It bled a thick, tar-like substance into the null realm. The black substance smelled of ancient decay and forgotten eras. It dripped down onto the invisible barrier of the arena. The temperature in the arena plummeted far below absolute zero. The platinum light from Goku's armor dimmed slightly under the oppressive cold. A suffocating aura of pure malice seeped through the cosmic wound. It was not Hakai destruction energy. It was something far older and exponentially darker. The Grand Priest looked up at the expanding rift. His purple eyes filled with a terror far greater than his fear of Goku. He recognized the encroaching darkness instantly. The Omni Kings gripped the armrests of their golden thrones. They trembled uncontrollably in their seats. The rift widened further. The jagged edges of the tear burned with a sickly, diseased green flame. Deep within the black void of the rift, two massive orbs ignited simultaneously. They were ancient, darkened eyes. They possessed no pupils. They radiated absolute, unadulterated hatred. The eyes locked directly onto the bright platinum light of the Saiyan. They belonged to an entity erased millions of years ago. The dimensional tear acted as a forbidden bridge. The ancient multiversal seal had broken entirely. The ruler of the long-erased Universe 13 looked through the crack. The ancient evil observed the new king of the cosmos. The dark entity exhaled a heavy breath of rotting cosmic ash. The gray ash drifted down toward the kneeling angels. Goku clenched his fists tightly. The platinum aura flared violently to repel the encroaching darkness. The true battle for existence had not ended. It had just begun.